In this part of the video, what you'll want to do is you'll want to hit pause so that you can copy down these notes, as we will work to fill them in the second part of the video. So we can recall from the very beginning of the school year that cells are the basic unit of life. They're the smallest thing that can be alive, and single-celled organisms are just one cell. So we know that all organisms need and use energy. Organisms use energy for things such as responding to their environment, maintaining homeostasis, growth, repair, and reproduction. We know that there is a direct relationship between plants and all other organisms. Plants take in the sun's energy. They also take in water and carbon dioxide, and they use that to make glucose and oxygen. The glucose and oxygen can be used by the plant itself or by anything that directly or indirectly eats that plant. So the glucose and the oxygen go to an organism's mitochondria, which allows that organism to make energy. When that organism makes energy, it releases carbon dioxide and water, which are then again used by the plants. So you can see that ecology is the study of relationships between organisms, and we can see that organisms are tied together in this cycle in the production and use of energy. No matter what, all energy in an ecosystem begins with the sun's energy or photosynthesis. So here again, you can see that we are showing pictures of not just the organelles, but also the organisms where we have this connection between plants that undergo photosynthesis to produce glucose and organisms that use those plants, consume the glucose to produce carbon dioxide and water. As a review, inside of cells, there are various organelles which have specific jobs. The first organelle we're going to talk about is the nucleus. The nucleus protects the DNA, which gives instructions for the cell to operate. Those instructions for the cell are actually instructions on how to build proteins, which we see as traits. So those proteins are built in the ribosome. Now, in order for the ribosome to build proteins, materials must enter and exit the cell through the membrane, and many of those materials are going to be used by the mitochondria to produce energy. So in all cells, glucose and oxygen must be delivered to the mitochondria for them to make energy, and then carbon dioxide and water will be released. Plant cells have many of the same structures as animal cells. They have a nucleus which does the same job, and ribosomes and mitochondria and cell membranes, but they have three special organelles. So their central vacuole is much larger as it stores food, which is produced by the plant, and water. Water will be stored by the chloroplast, which uses the sun's energy, water, and carbon dioxide to produce glucose during photosynthesis. Plant cells are also different than animal cells, is that they are more rigid because they have an outer cell wall that gives them a more rigid structure. By now, you should be able to describe how chloroplasts and mitochondria cell structures relate to energy transfer in an ecosystem.